How is the NAR lawsuit settlement going to affect buyers and sellers moving forward? Hi, I'm Mark Mitchell with MarkMitchellHomes and Virtual Properties Realty. The two things that will change in mid-July once it is signed off by the judge is that the commission amount for the buyer's broker will no longer be added to the MLS. The second change is a written agreement must be signed before buyers can be shown houses. This will either be a buyer brokerage agreement if we represent you as a client, or a customer acknowledgement if you are a customer. I will talk about how this will affect both buyers and sellers. Personally, I have no problem with either of these items, as Georgia has had buyer brokerage agreements since I became licensed in Georgia in 2005. To my surprise, according to NAR in 2023, only 18 states had buyer brokerage agreements, so actually this will be a good change for those other states that currently do not have buyer brokerage agreements. Before we get into what it means for sellers and buyers, remember the media sensationalizes a lot of issues and misleads the public when they have an agenda to push with the sky is falling type reporting. I've read articles about price fixing and commissions would not be paid anymore, and even President Biden at a recent speech in Nevada said for the first time buyers and sellers would be able to negotiate commissions, which is absolutely false. I will give Biden a break, as he is very old and struggles with reading off a teleprompter, but commissions have always been negotiable. So let's see what it means for buyers and sellers. For sellers, it really doesn't affect them, as right now they can be a for sale by owner and pay zero commission, or hire a discounted limited service broker, or go with a full service broker. So right now they still choose the amount of commission that they are going to pay and how much goes to the buyer side per the listing agreement terms. Nobody is twisting their arm as they decide for themselves what is best for their situation. Some may listen to the media and decide not to offer any commission to the buyer side, which guess what? They can do right now. The consequence of not offering a commission would probably be significantly less showings, as many buyers cannot afford to pay down payment, closing costs, and then have to pay their agent as well. Per the NAR lawsuit terms, sellers can offer buyer incentives, say towards closing costs on the MLS, but cannot list the co-op fee to the other broker. There will be workarounds for the listing co-op fee if the seller decides to offer one, as it just cannot be on the MLS. The Showing Time app, for example, would be a perfect advertising, for the co-op fee, as Zillow owns the Showing Time app. And this is where all agents in my area go to set appointments. Listing agents could put the co-op fee on their personal and company websites, as well as add it to their listing on Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, and other websites as well. I don't see this being a big deal when it's all said and done. Now for the buyers. This lawsuit potentially hurts them, especially the buyers that are either first-time home buyers or do not have a lot of funds in reserve. A good buyer's agent will have a detailed plan for making sure your transaction is as smooth as possible and keep you from making costly mistakes. Buyers will have to sign a buyer brokerage agreement that will spell out what commissions are agreed to with the buyer agent. So I see 4 possible outcomes for the buyer. The first would be, as it is now, the seller offers compensation for the buyer's agent. That way you would have professional representation, and then you could just focus on the down payment and closing cost. The second is that the seller is not paying any contribution to the buyer's agent or are offering any buyer concessions. You would have to come out of pocket 100% for everything. The third would be maybe a mixture of the two above, where the seller would pay some, but not all. Remember, if you ask your agent, they could put in the offer in the special stipulations for his or her commission to be paid by the seller. The last option would be to go at it alone. But would you get the best price? Would you get the best terms? And most importantly, would you not make any costly mistakes, as the seller would have professional representation on their side while you would be on your own? I would not recommend this option. At the end of the day, the sellers that offer a buyer agent compensation will definitely get the most showings. Many buyers will just skip those homes instead of foregoing no representation in the transaction if they can't afford the down payment, closing cost, and an agent. I think once listing agents agents explain this to sellers, most sellers will continue to offer compensation for the buyers. We will have to see how it all shakes out, but I think there will be an adjustment period. And for Georgia, I don't think it will amount to a whole lot, as we already do buyer brokerage agreements. And if sellers don't want to pay commissions, they can offer 0% right now to the buyer's agents. Time will tell, but tune into my next video for more real estate tips to help you on your real estate journey.